up, fight nerds? This is your boy Gershon, and today we're going to be talking about fights. So, some of these fights I'm going to talk about are either confirmed or potential fights that I see could happen based on what I see in the rankings and what I've observed through these past fight nights we've been having. All right, so once again, some of these are not fights that are actually have a date or even been confirmed, but these are things that I would really like to see happen, and some of them are already confirmed. So, let's just get into it and talk about what's coming. First, let's start off with the heavyweight division. So we've got Derek Lewis versus Curtis Blades. Now they were talking back and forth for a while, talking about fighting each other, and now we're finally gonna get it. Derek Lewis just coming off of a win versus Alexei Olenek, and you have Blades coming off of a win versus Alexander Volkov. Now I think this matchup actually favors Blades just because Derek Lewis seems to have a really hard time when it comes to people who just don't really bother standing up and just go for the takedown and can get it. So that's Derek Lewis learn some major takedown defense. I think this is going to majorly benefit Blades. We also have Walt Harris and Alexander Volkov coming later on this year. Walt Harris coming off of a loss to Alistair Overeem, and Volkov coming off of Curtis Blades. Now, it's going to be a pretty good fight. I think Walt Harris has a chance to bring himself further up the top 10 here and, show he's the prospect that we all know he is, right? Also, when it came to contenders, so we had the Curtis Blades and the Lewis fight. Who would get the winner? Jairzinho Rozenstruik. He has no fight right now. I think he would get the winner. And I know Alistair Overeem is going to fight this weekend against Augusto Sakai. So if he beats him, maybe it sets up a rematch between Alistair and Jairzinho. And of course, there is the ever-looming fight between Stipe and Ngannou, which I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think Ngannou has shown that he's going to bring anything new to the table to beat Stipe. I mean, DC did say that Stipe has a little wear and tear on him. Maybe it'll be easier for him to get knocked out. Okay, I get it. But in terms of actual technical skill, I don't think Ngannou has shown. He's just been knocking out people the same way he was knocking out before he knocked out Stipe. So I think that kind of turned out the same way as well. But yeah, those are the fights at heavyweight that I'm really looking forward to. Now let's move on to the light heavyweight division. Now we know that the championship for that division has been vacated by John Jones because he's moving up to heavyweight. And now Dominic Reyes and Jan Bikovic are now fighting for it. Okay, now that's good. I think that both of them are not really dominant, like in either. Well, they've had dominant performances, but I don't think they're going to be dominant champions. I think whichever one wins, there's plenty of contenders that could pretty much you can see beating them. Like Dominic Reyes really took it to John Jones because his style is very good. But I think there are other people in the division who could really give comp to Reyes. I mean, Volkan Ozdemir did it earlier. A lot of people believe that he didn't beat Volkan Ozdemir. I'm one of them. Jan Bikovic, he just came from beating Corey Anderson. He knocked him out. But he also got knocked out by Thiago Santos, who was coming back in the next fight that we're going to talk about, which is Thiago Santos versus Glover Teixeira, right? Now, I want to see Thiago Santos, see like if he's back, see if his knees are doing good. And once he gets past that, which I'm hoping, he can challenge for whoever wins in that Reyes and Bikovic fight. So if Jan wins, it looks crazy because he lost to Thiago already. But I think Thiago also has at least stand-up advantage to Dominic as well. So I think Thiago's like, yeah, this is a great time for me to do this now. I mean, he gave John Jones comp even with two messed up knees, right? And the one that they haven't made yet, I'm hoping they do, is a guy, Giri Prochazka, who just came from knocking out Volkan Ozdemir, and Alexander Rakic, who just came from dominating Anthony Smith. That would be an amazing fight to make. They're both prospects, and they both have great styles that would be very complementary to each other and make an awesome match. So yeah, for the light heavyweight division, those are the three fights that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Now we've got a personal favorite of mine. This is the middleweight division. Obviously, we've got Israel Adesanya, and Paulo Costa fighting for the middleweight championship. Now, that's going to be a really cool match just because their styles, so, they're very contrary, but they kind of complement each other depending on what they do. So, you have Stylebender, who's obviously like the more proficient striker, better footwork, better head movement, but, not as powerful, where you have Paulo Costa, who just likes to walk people down, very one-directional, right? And but just plenty of power. Like you don't want to get hit by him. Obviously, like me, I'm more for the technical striker, so I'm rooting for Izzy on this one. But I think even Izzy knows the danger from standing right in front of Paulo Costa for too much, which he's not going to do. He never does that, right? He's constantly moving around and stuff like that. People want to say running, but stop. You know what happened in that Yoel Romero fight. when it comes to Robert Whitaker versus Jared Cannonier, I think everyone has always known that Jared Cannonier has always been the dark horse of the division. He's coming off of an injury. He was actually ready. They said that he was going to be the backup for Costa and Adesanya, if so, but now he doesn't have to be because he has his own match coming up. And I think his style is very complementary to Robert because Robert gets hit a lot, and Cannonier is not a person who you can get hit by a lot. I mean, he used to be heavyweight, so he's carrying around that same bone density. It's pretty crazy. So I see him moving past Robert Whitaker, and then hopefully if Adesanya gets that, which I want, that's a fresh matchup right there. Because if Robert goes, then it might be more the same thing, Robert versus Adesanya or something like that. We've already seen what happened in that matchup. So yeah, for the middleweight division, that's really what I'm looking forward to. Oh wait, I almost forgot. There's also Darren Till versus Jack Hermanson coming later on, and I think that's a little dangerous because Hermanson, like, he's a talented wrestler, and I'm not sure if Darren Till had to take down a fence to stop him from doing what he wants to him. I love Darren Till. I want to see Adesanya and him later on, but like this is gonna be a hard one for him. This is really really hard. So yeah, I mean that's really it for the middleweight division. We've got welterweight, the welterweight division. So now we got Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns coming. That's a fight that was going to happen before Jorge had to step in, and Gilbert had to step out because of his COVID positive test. Now this is going to be interesting because taking Gilbert down is not just going to be something that even if you do that, he's a jiu-jitsu guy, so he's going to be comfortable on his back if that's what it is. Not going to be easy, and he's much more aggressive standing up. I mean Jorge's aggressive standing up too, but he's much more well-rounded. We know that. And Kamaru Usman and him have trained together, which means there's quite a bit of familiarity there. So I think they know a lot of each other's moves and steps. So that's gonna be very interesting. I can't wait to see that competitively. That's gonna be an awesome match. There's also Tyron Woodley versus Colby Covington, which is actually obviously confirmed. I want to see Tyron win this. I am a huge Tyron fan. He's coming off of 2 losses, one versus the champ, and the other one to Gilbert Burns. And Colby's coming off of a loss, really one of his only losses in the division, like his second loss in the division to Kamaru Usman. Obviously, Colby has all the volume, which would be a great advantage. And if Tyron is the Tyron of old, which, tons of explosive power, combos, leg kicks, and mixing some strong wrestling, I think Tyron could take it. His last few fights have shown that there's been like a bit of a mental disconnect I've seen, and it has me worried. Is this something that, is he going to be like this like for the rest? Is it time for him to leave? But if there's any fight that can motivate him, I think it would be this one, right? And also, they're hearing rumblings about Jorge and Nate Diaz. Look, I saw it the first time, and I think Jorge did what he had to do to win. And they didn't like the ending of that. Jorge and Nate didn't like the ending, but I think it was the ending because Jorge brought it there. Jorge gave him that damage. So I really don't want to see it again. I don't. I'd rather Jorge fight Leon Edwards because Jorge said, I want to get to the championship. But how do you get to the championship? By fighting number 12. You get more money. Maybe that's a money fight, but that's not really a competitive fight. I don't believe so. It wasn't competitive the first time. I think he should fight Leon Edwards. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Okay, now let's talk about the lightweight division. So we've got Justin Gaethje versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. Now, obviously, these styles are like complete contrasts, like for the most part, because we've got someone who's a power puncher, power leg kicker, and defensive wrestlers versus somebody who just uses striking to mask the takedowns, the relentless takedowns over and over again. Now, Gaethje's coming off of a dominant win versus Tony Ferguson, and Khabib is coming off of a pretty dominant win versus Dustin Poirier, right? Obviously, I think that it just depends on if the fight is stays standing, or if Khabib can just take him down at will and keep him there. That's really it. So I don't know who's going to take that fight. It just all depends on the style. So I'm not even going to make a prediction on that one, but I know I'm going to love the fight. And speaking of the 2 people they beat, there's supposed to be a match in the works for them, Tony Ferguson and Dustin Poirier. If that's the case, I think that if Tony Ferguson did the same thing did in his fight with Justin Gaethje, I think he might run into the same problems, like not moving his head and just thinking that he's going to outlast power punches, like just using his chin to block stuff and thinking like if I outlast him, like that's not gonna happen. Especially Dustin Poirier now, like he's heavier, he hits hard, he's technical. Like I think he might run into the exact same problem, and Dustin Poirier might wind up going past him. We might see, if Gaethje wins, we would see perhaps a Gaethje and Poirier rematch. And honestly, I would like that. I'd really like that actually. In the men's bantamweight division, We've got Peter Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. That's not been confirmed in terms of date or anything like that yet, but we already know that Dana White pretty much, he was going back and forth, like, I don't know, he might be next, or Aljamain. But we know pretty much Peter Yan and Aljamain Sterling. That's a fight that we really want to see. And I believe that Aljamain has the best chance on the ground because I believe standing up, Yan definitely has the technical advantage there. Like, that's just like my early predictions on that. Also, we've got Marlon Moraes versus Corey Sandhagen. Moraes is actually coming off a win versus Jose Aldo, but I think people, like, they just felt it was a loss. They felt that Jose beat him. And Corey Sandhagen came from a pretty quick loss to Aljamain Sterling via rear naked choke in the first round, I believe. So yeah, that should be an interesting fight because I'm pretty sure if Marlon wins, he's just gonna fight. He's already number one contender pretty much. So if he beats Corey, he's just gonna go to face the winner of Sterling and Yan, right? So that's really about it when it comes to that division right now because I know Cody is in. He's gonna fight at the flyweight division, so I guess we can talk about that. In the flyweight division, he's gonna fight Davison Figueiredo for his title. And he has a pretty good chance there, but I think he's kind of depleting himself at weight. And I think that since he's a smaller bantamweight and Figueiredo is a bigger flyweight, I think that doesn't really bode well for him. Like I know he's quick and he has great footwork, but I think him getting hit at that deficit might not serve him well. And that's just my opinion. I think he has the better technical striking skill, but Davison doesn't suck. Like he's someone who is actually pretty well rounded all over the place. So I think I would give the flyweight bout to Davison Figueiredo, and obviously, if he wants to, he can go right back up to 135 and fight top contenders up there as well. So yeah, that's what I think about. I guess those two divisions. Now for the ladies, we've got in the featherweight division. They just announced they're gonna have Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. Sorry, Megan Anderson. I said that wrong. Now Amanda is pretty much just getting fed people at this point. And a lot of people are probably like, oh, she's getting fed. Like, Megan, that's it. And I'll say Megan's chance is using her reach. Just using her reach. Just keeping Amanda at the end of all her punches and really using her length. And if she could do that. However, Amanda is not someone who can't move in, is not powerful, and can't rely on grappling if she needs to. And Megan has shown to be acceptable on the ground. So, yeah, I think I'm going to still lean in Nunes here, but I'm not just going to count Anderson now, even though, a lot of people would be right in saying that they haven't seen exactly what challenge she would pose, but I think it's using her length because she's really really tall, like she's really really tall. Then going to the bantamweight division, obviously we have Holly Holm and Irene Aldana. That should be interesting. Holly's always going to be at the top of the bantamweight division, like she just is. She could also go to the featherweight if let's just say Nunes were to walk away for a little bit. She can do that. I think she could dominate up there as well. So let's see. Let's see how that Holm and Aldana fight ends up and see like who she's fighting next, right? Afterwards, if we go to 125, we go to the flyweight. We have Valentina Shevchenko versus Jennifer Maia, and once again, just like how there's Nunes and everybody else when in the bantamweight division, in flyweight it's Shevchenko and everybody else, and I think she even though Maia's grappling her strong suit, Shevchenko is strong down there too, and she can keep it from going down there. And I think it's going to be either a really short night or a very long night for Maia. So I'm thinking Shevchenko takes that one as well. Right now, I don't really see any real challenges for her, right? Because she's not just like okay everywhere. Like Shevchenko's really great everywhere. In the strawweight division, right? That's what I really want to see. I want to see Rose Namajunas versus Zhang Weili, which has not been confirmed, right? That has not been confirmed yet, but that's the logical way to go. And I know Rose Namajunas is very technical, and she can stick and move. It's just that Zhang Weili is also technical, and she's got tons of power. So it takes Zhang Weili to not get hit, really. Like she cannot get hit. Not Zhang Weili, sorry, Rose Namajunas just can't get hit by Zhang Weili. And I think her footwork can do it, but for 5 rounds, that is the issue because even in her fight against Jessica Andrade, you saw at the end of that fight, if it would have lasted for more rounds, that I think Jessica might have taken that because she started finding her range and really clipping her, and it wasn't looking good at the end of that. So yeah, I can't wait to see that fight as well. And whatever fight they have left for Amanda Ribas, they haven't made any fight for her. If I could choose anyone for her to fight, it'd be someone like like Macy Barber. Like that's someone who I like to see her fight. That's something right there to be fighting up, and it'd be a very exciting fight. Very exciting fight against a well-rounded fighter. All right, well that's it for confirmed matches and potential matches that I'd be really excited about and currently really excited about. So let me know if there's any that I forgot or something that you would like to add on there. Write in the comments. Let me know what you're excited and even if you disagree with any of the predictions that I made or just opinions about which fights would be good, let me know that as well. Until then, keep on watching these fights and don't forget to enter the nerd.